Definitely interesting. I love the back of it. It's absolutely great.
What is that, like a spider web?
Yeah, it's a little black widow, which doesn't seem exactly appropriate for a wedding gift.
Right.
Come on down, gentlemen.
Oh, that brings back memories. This is sweet. I actually had a 78 Eldorado Barrettes. What is this, 71?
72.
Okay.
Yeah. Got the Vogue tires on there, 500 cubic inch motor.
The episode opens in full Pawn Stars chaos. Rick juggling sports history, Chumlee cracking jokes, and a customer holding a dusty old book that might actually rewrite baseball history. The guy claims it's the first printed book with American baseball rules, and Rick lights up immediately. It's from 1834, printed in Boston, and even shows an early baseball diamond. Suddenly this isn't just a book, it's the sports origin story sitting on the counter.
I brought you the first printed book with American baseball rules.
It's really cool. It's a cool sports collectible. It's a cool book.
This book is amongst the most...
Not at all. Is it of Civil War era?
Seller calls it the birth certificate of baseball, and Rick is clearly impressed, but his brain is already doing the math. The asking price is $6,000. Rick doesn't hesitate.
It's a cool book. And where was this printed? It's printed in the States?
It's actually printed in 1834 in Boston. It actually has a wonderful illustration of children playing on the Boston Common, the actual game of baseball.
Another customer steps in carrying a Civil War drum that looks like it's survived decades of marching. He says it's been in his family for years and wants $12,000 for it. Rick is intrigued but cautious, immediately spotting repairs and where that raise questions. It might be old, but whether it's battlefield history or parade decoration is the real issue.
Good, nice to see you again.
You came in a while ago with like Star Wars scripters, right?
That's right, absolutely.
Okay, and we got a drum.
It's a Civil War drum you just can't beat.
No, you could.
Rick explains how drummer boys once signaled troop movements in battle, making these instruments historically important. But as he examines it, modern hardware stands out. He points out screws and parts added long after the Civil War. The seller stays hopeful, but Rick decides to call in an expert. When history and money mix, Rick never guesses.
For different commands. Attack, retreat, go move left, move right. Generally, younger boys would be...
From my understanding, you didn't want to be the drummer boy. The enemy knew that if they took the drummer boy out, it'd be hard for them to arrange and organize.
Mark Hall Patton arrives and quickly studies the drum. His verdict, it's likely from the 1870s or 1880s, not the Civil War. Still collectible, but not the battlefield relic the seller imagined. The mood dips fast. After a brief negotiation, Rick offers $900. The seller accepts, walking away with cash and a revised story about his family heirloom.
War-era drums, so I called in someone who is. So this is the drum I called you about.
Oh, very nice.
He claims it's from the Civil War.
All right. You know, the youngest drummer in the Civil War was 9.
Next up is a cast iron ice shaver from the 1940s. The seller says he found it at a garage sale and wants enough money to visit his son. Corey is fascinated by the mechanics, while the seller explains it was used to make Halo Halo, a popular shaved ice dessert. It's nostalgic, practical, and suddenly one of the more heartfelt items of the day.
So where'd you get it?
From a garage sale.
Yeah, I used to go to garage sales. Now I kind of... So do you know how old it is?
I don't, actually. I found one similar online. It was from 1943. It's made in Japan, but it looked just like this.
Corey admires the craftsmanship, but keeps expectations grounded. The seller wants $900 after seeing one online, but Corey counters at $300. After some back and forth, they settle at $350. The seller leaves happy with travel money, and Corey adds another quirky vintage item to the shop.
Much. I mean, you would throw a big block of ice, slam that down onto it, toward hold it. You'd spin this. That little blade would shave the ice, and the shaved ice would come down there, and there you go.
Right.
Back to the baseball book, Jeremy finally examines it and immediately recognizes its significance. It contains early rules, the first diamond illustration, and descriptions of how the game was originally played, including throwing the ball at runners to get them out. Rick laughs at how different baseball used to be, but the value is clearly serious.
You know, I mean, I just don't know anything about it. I've never even heard of the book, you know.
I know exactly what this is the first time I've actually had an opportunity to see it in person. This is a truly awesome book in the world of baseball.
Wow.
Jeremy values it high enough that Rick calls in Rebecca, the book expert, for a second opinion. Between sports history and rare book collecting, this item could appeal to multiple markets. Rick knows the next opinion could make or break the deal.
This is a really, really rare book. This wasn't the first even to have a baseball diamond. It wasn't necessarily the one that talked about baseball, but this is a landmark because it brings all of those things together.
Meanwhile, Chumlee handles a 1932 Bridgewater's Corkscrew that comes in a coffin-shaped case. It was made to celebrate the end of Prohibition, and Chumlee loves the backstory. The seller wants $1,100, but Chumlee starts far lower, knowing novelty items don't always carry huge value.
Good. I have a Bridgewater's Corkscrew, produced in 1932. It comes in a coffin. This is more or less the king daddy of all corkscrews and bottle openers.
All right. I guess even back in the day they were popping bottles.
They negotiate steadily, numbers bouncing from hundreds down to a realistic range. Eventually, they settle at $325. The seller is satisfied with his profit, and Chumlee walks away with a unique collectible tied to one of America's most interesting eras.
So, it seems right that when Prohibition ended, they would make a corkscrew, bottle opener, shot glass.
Chop them up, put them in a coffin.
Yeah. So what do you want to do with it?
I'd like to sell it.
Corey then checks out a 1970s Nash skateboard. The seller hopes for $150, remembering its nostalgia and early skate culture history. Corey explains the brand's background, but notes missing original parts. He offers $20, which disappoints the seller, who decides to keep it for his grandkids instead.
What do we got here?
I have a childhood memory, 1970s Nash skateboard.
All right, where in the world did you get this?
Overland Park, Kansas, of all places. Not really a skateboard mecca.
The seller declines the offer and walks away, choosing sentimental value over a small payout. Not every item turns into a deal, and sometimes family memories matter more than the money.
Good, because usually you're hauling butt down the sidewalk and it would hit a pebble and go flying out in front of it.
That's because they used to have clay and metal wheels. Nash, I believe, was the first company to start using urethane wheels, which was a big deal.
The episode opens with pure variety: James Bond memorabilia, Civil War postage, a classic Datsun, and even an antique tricycle, all teased at once. Rick is clearly excited, Chumlee already looks overwhelmed, and the old man seems ready to nap through it all. Rick sums it up best: you never know what's coming through that door. With this lineup, the day already feels unpredictable before a single deal even begins.
What do you got? I've got a screenplay of Goldfinger.
Goldfinger made James Bond an international icon.
The guy that played Oddjob gave it to me.
I mean, if this was used by one of the franchise's best villains.
First in, a seller brings a 1916 to 1920 Ives train set discovered in an attic. Rick lights up immediately, joking about never getting toys like that growing up, while the old man fires back with a sarcastic comment. The banter sets the tone, but Rick quickly shifts into business mode. The set looks well preserved, and the nostalgia factor alone makes it worth a serious look.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. How are you?
What do you got here?
I have a 1916 to 1920 Ives train set. I want to sell them because I can use the money.
Rick dives into the company's history, explaining how Ives became a major toy train maker before being absorbed by Lionel. The conversation drifts between history and humor, with everyone chiming in. Rick inspects the condition carefully, already weighing whether it's rare enough to justify the seller's price.
Their plant burned down, and they had just great insurance. It was a successful fire. I don't know if it was on purpose or not. They were able to retool their entire factory, and they became like one of the most popular train companies in the country. They were head-to-head with Lionel.
The seller asks $850. Rick tries offering $750, but the seller stands firm, clearly confident in the item's worth. After a short standoff, Rick agrees to the full price. The seller asks to keep the box, but Rick refuses immediately. The packaging matters for resale.
I really think it's worth a lot more than that. You guys will do all right on this, I promise you.
God, I hate it when people know what they got.
I really think it's worth $850.
Next item looks like a coin at first, but Rick notices a small George Washington stamp encased inside. It's labeled White the Hatter, New York, and dated 1862. Rick admits he hasn't seen one like it before and suspects it might be a Civil War era trade token. The seller says he needs money after losing music equipment, so Rick promises to call in an expert.
How we doing today?
Hey, how you doing? What you got here?
I got this 1862 postage stamp.
Wow, it's almost as old as the old man.
So where in the world did you get this?
A Datsun 280ZX pulls up outside. The seller calls it a historic car, but admits he repainted it himself. The engine sounds rough, and Rick's skepticism is immediate. It looks fun on the surface, but something feels off, and Rick isn't ready to jump into a risky purchase without checking deeper.
This is it, guys. 1980 Datsun 280ZX. 10th anniversary. They made 3,000. 2,500 were gold and black, and 500 were red and black.
Who in the world painted this thing last?
The seller wants $28,000, and Rick quickly counters with a much lower number. They argue back and forth before Rick calls in mechanic Fatback for a proper inspection. After a test drive, the verdict is clear. Mechanical problems everywhere. Rick walks away from the deal, avoiding what could have been an expensive mistake.
Can be really exciting. So how's it run?
It runs great on the highway. I brought it down 80 miles from Mesquite, and it ran like a top all the way.
Can you pop the hood on?
You bet.
Then comes a major pop culture item, a final draft screenplay for Goldfinger. Rick gets excited immediately, recognizing its place in film history. The seller explains it came from Harold Sakata, the actor who played Odd Job. That connection gives the script real credibility and makes Rick take it seriously as a collectible.
So where in the world did you get this?
The guy that played Odd Job, Harold Sakata, gave it to me. We were close friends.
That's you?
That's me, yeah. Way back in the...
Odd Job.
Yeah.
Fly through the air and cut through anything.
Rick talks about how Goldfinger helped make James Bond a global icon. The seller even shows a photo with Sakata backing up the story. Negotiations move quickly. The seller asks $1,000, Rick counters $500, and they agree almost instantly. It's a simple deal, but a solid pickup tied to a major film franchise.
We don't have time. Plus, I don't think I could stand to watch it.
Check this out. How much do you want for this?
I'd like $1,000.
What are you doing?
I'm acting.
The coin stamp item returns as expert Dana arrives. He explains these are encased postage stamps from the Civil War, created when coin shortages forced merchants to improvise currency. They doubled as advertisements and small change. The history fascinates everyone, turning what looked odd at first into something genuinely rare and meaningful.
Yeah, and this is an integral part of that entire story. And it has a little patent date in tiny, tiny letters down below here of in 62. This particular stamp is the 1861.
A woman arrives with what she believes is an 1800s tricycle passed down through her family. The old man jokes about Rick riding it, and the mood turns playful before the appraisal even starts. The item looks interesting, but Rick begins inspecting details carefully.
What do we have here?
A tricycle from the 1800s.
And where did you get that?
From my mom's basement. It's been in her family for over 100 years.
Hey, Rick, why don't you go try it out?
Rick explains that tricycles were luxury items in the late 1800s, but quickly spots problems: modern parts, mismatched welds, and non-working pedals. He gently concludes it's a reproduction, not a true antique. The seller is disappointed, but Rick sticks to the facts, offering honesty, even when it means no deal.
Rick is older than I am. To be as old as this, it's in damn good condition.
Tricycles were insanely popular in the late 1800s. They were considered way more upper class than bicycles. Part of it being that they considered them much more comfortable to ride. I'm just glad things changed though.
The episode opens with instant chaos. Rick's furious because someone's been stealing coins from his change jar. Corey and Chumlee are immediately in the hot seat, and the debate turns into whether it's even a jar at all. The old man casually declares it's a piggy bank that just doesn't look like one, which somehow makes everything funnier and more insulting at the same time.
Who's been stealing from my jar change?
You know, for my entire life, every time you've had your little jar of change, you've always accused me of stealing it.
It's because you were always stealing out of it.
No one's messing with your money, dude.
No one took any money, Rick. It's all there.
It was like all quarters on top, and they're gone.
The first customer walks in with an 1861 half-eagle gold coin, and Rick lights up immediately. The seller says it belonged to his grandfather, meaning it's been sitting quietly for decades. Rick explains it came from the Charlotte Mint, which makes it rarer than most versions. The seller's face changes instantly.
I have an 1861 coin that my grandfather gave to me before he passed away.
Okay. Yeah, it's an 1861 half-eagle. It's definitely cool, man. You have to realize it was finally that period we were getting away from all these foreign coins.
Rick shifts into history mode, explaining the Carolina Gold Rush and how Charlotte produced coins during that era. He casually mentions many were melted down overseas, which makes surviving pieces even more valuable today. The seller listens closely, clearly realizing this coin could be far more important than he thought.
Okay, Okay. Normally, there's nothing there. That means it was from the Philadelphia Mint, where that's where we made most of our coins during this time period. But believe it or not, for a while, there was a mint in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Another seller steps in with antique whiskey bottles, and the randomness is classic Pawn Stars. Rick examines one from an old mail order company and quickly spots a chip that hurts its value. The seller hopes for $1,000, but Rick drops it to $300 based on condition. It's a fast reminder that even cool history loses value when it isn't perfectly preserved.
But nothing in them.
I came to see if I could sell my antique bottles. One's a cobalt blue whiskey bottle.
Made by honest North Carolina people. It's definitely cool, man.
Meanwhile, Chumlee gets caught taking change from Rick's jar and tries to justify it by saying he used the money in Rick's own soda machine. Rick just stares, completely baffled by the logic.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
You're stealing my change.
I'm not. I just took some change out to get a soda from the soda machine.
That's taking my change, chum.
Mike finally arrives and immediately recognizes the Charlotte Half Eagle as a rare piece. He studies it carefully, checking for signs of counterfeiting and altered details. The room goes quiet as he works. When he confirms it's authentic, the entire mood shifts. This tiny coin suddenly carries serious historical and financial weight.
Absolutely.
Okay.
What are you looking for exactly?
I'm just looking at the letter C and seeing if it is consistent with the rest of the coin. With the C added on, you would actually see markings that someone might have added something to the coin.
So you
Mike values it around $15,000, leaving the seller stunned. Rick moves into negotiation mode right away. The seller asks $12,000. Rick counters at $8,000, and after a pause, the seller agrees. He leaves happy with cash, and Rick walks away with a major collectible.
After looking at it, yes, I believe that it is a authentic Charlotte minted coin.
That's awesome. Awesome news.
So what's it worth?
In this condition, I would say on a good day, you could get about $15,000 for this coin.
15?
The episode opens with peak Pawn Stars chaos. Rick is freezing in his office and immediately blames the guys for messing with the thermostat. Chumlee fires back with a brutal line about old people and bald people getting cold, and suddenly Rick's outnumbered and out-roasted in seconds.
I think we need some new tires. These are crusted out.
We need inner tubes. The bike needs a lot.
Hey guys, did you guys mess with the thermostat?
Why?
No, I was just in my office. It's cold.
Feels perfectly fine to me.
Yeah, this is a beautiful weather in here.
Old people get cold easily.
A customer walks in carrying Beatles memorabilia, preview tickets to the 1964 film A Hard Day's Night. Rick lights up instantly, clearly excited, while Corey immediately compares the Beatles to Justin Bieber and kills the mood. The seller looks stunned, like he just witnessed a historical crime. Rick ignores the chaos and focuses on the item.
A very, very unique piece of Beatles memorabilia.
Okay.
These are one-of-a-kind Beatle tickets for the movie. My brother worked on the ad campaign.
Rick launches into a Beatles history lesson, explaining how the film captured the frenzy of their early fame and cultural impact. He gets dramatic describing the movie, clearly enjoying himself, while Corey mocks his enthusiasm. The contrast is hilarious.
The movie, it was about the day in the life of the Beatles and girls chasing him around and dealing with record executives and a few things like that. And it was a cute little comedy.
It's the same story since the beginning of time. I don't
They
care if
became
it's
one
the
of
Beatles or Eminem, it's the same story.
The seller asks $800 for the tickets, claiming they're unique. Rick stays cautious but interested and decides to call in his rock memorabilia expert, Warwick. If the tickets are authentic, they could be a solid pickup. The seller looks hopeful, while Corey quietly recovers from his earlier comment.
So,
I think that that's a fair price. They were printed only for that show, and I believe there are no other tickets around like them.
Warwick finally arrives to inspect the Beatles tickets and immediately recognizes their importance. He confirms they're authentic preview passes from the New York showing before the US release. Their condition is excellent, which boosts their value. Warwick estimates they could fetch around $350 to $400 each. Rick's expression shifts. This is officially a profitable opportunity.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How's it going, man?
Hey, I am the curator of rock and roll memorabilia for the Hard Rock Hotel in Las Vegas. I'm here because I know everything about rock and roll music for the last 60 years.
Back to the thermostat battle, Rick insists the shop stay cool while the others complain about the heat. Chumlee dramatically fans himself with a portable fan, arguing that anyone dressed formally shouldn't be normal in this temperature. The shop starts to feel less like a business and more like a sitcom set. The old man watches quietly, clearly entertained by the chaos.
I'm burning up. Because I'm just going to sit here and help customers like that all day. This is ridiculous. You know, me and you outvote him. That means we can control the thermostat. Feels kind of good when you spray it, though.
Another customer arrives with an 1850 Millard Fillmore Indian piece medal and claims it's worth $15,000. Rick is intrigued but cautious. He knows these medals were historically given to Native American leaders and are often copied. The weight feels off, so Rick calls coin expert Dave to confirm before risking money.
What do we got?
We've got a 1850 Millard Fillmore Presidential Indian Peace Medal.
Was Millard Fillmore even a president?
Wasn't expected to be, but
yeah.
is.
Dave arrives and gives a detailed history lesson on peace medals and their cultural importance. He inspects the piece carefully and delivers the bad news. It's a modern cast counterfeit. Rick's disappointment is clear, and the seller looks crushed. Dave leaves with a simple lesson: research matters before spending or selling.
So my buddy Dave is coming in to check it out.
How you doing?
Doing good.
All right.
Well, Indian peace medal.
Ah, who doesn't love Indian peace medals? My expertise is in ancient, early medieval coins. I also dabble quite strongly in early federal United States coin. Millard Fillmore, one of our most beloved presidents.